34 years ago this day marked the passage of the Singapore Polytechnic Act and the establishment of a new institution of higher learning. The early Singapore Polytechnic was modelled along British lines. Many of the staff were expatriates and a wide variety of courses were offered. These ranged from specialised technical courses in engineering, building and architecture to popular commercial and secretarial courses in stenography and typing. Polytechnic senior lecturer Mr. Lim Ming Tong was a student in the architecture and building course more than 2 decades ago.
I remember during that time we have a very small class of 10 students only. The class is small, so we know each other very well. And but one thing I want to say is that during that time the facilities wasn't that advanced. We have only a few labs.
Before the 1950s, technical training received little attention. Singapore relied on entrepot trade as its main economic activity. Its middleman's role for the region provided a source of livelihood for many. But towards the 1950s, the commercial and service sectors alone could not sustain an increasing population. It was imperative for Singapore to diversify her economy and reduce her traditional dependence on entrepot trade. This economic outlook propelled the issue of technical education to the forefront. In 1953, the colonial government appointed a committee under Professor Dobie to explore the feasibility of establishing a polytechnic. Based on the Dobie report, steps were taken to set up a polytechnic for Singapore. A site at Shanton Circus was chosen for its central location. Construction began soon afterwards, but even before its completion, courses were already conducted at borrowed premises. Classes commenced at the new Prince Edward Road campus, which was built at a cost of about $8 million. It had an initial enrollment of about 400 full-time and 2,500 part-time students. (1959) saw the opening of the Singapore Polytechnic by Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh. The year of its opening marks not only an important chapter of the Polytechnic's history, but also coincided with a significant phase in the political development of Singapore. Colonial rule came to an end after 140 years, and Singapore attained self-government. At this crucial point of Singapore's history, a vital role was envisaged for the country's new polytechnic. The selection of its courses was re-examined by the new government.
At that point of time, there was a hodgepodge of courses in the Polytechnic without a clear definition of what its main line should be. There were craft courses, there were certificate courses, there were diploma courses. Some of these were attuned to requirements of British institutions. British institutions have their own standards geared to British industry. We did not have British industry in Singapore, so it was necessary therefore to reorient the Polytechnic so that we produce technicians for Singapore industries and for industries to come.
In keeping with the new emphasis on industrialization, courses in general education and secretarial skills were discontinued. The remaining courses were reorganized into 4 departments: engineering, building and architecture, nautical studies, and accountancy. A local examination system with internal and external examiners also replaced the previous system of overseas examinations. Further, in 1963, in line with the development needs of Singapore, the Polytechnic transferred its craft courses to vocational institutes and concentrated on courses solely for technicians and professionals. In the mid-60s, exploratory measures were taken to develop the Polytechnic into a technological university with degree-conferring status. As a first step, temporary arrangements were made with the University of Singapore so that its degrees could be awarded to the Polytechnic's professional level students. 1969 witnessed the beginning of another important phase in the Polytechnic's history. Further reorganization took place. Professional level courses in engineering, architecture and building, and accountancy were transferred to the University of Singapore. From then on, the Polytechnic would only conduct technical courses and would devote its energies to the training of middle-level technical personnel to meet the demands of industry. Mr. Khoo Kay Chai has been the principal of the Singapore Polytechnic since 1976. He was a senior lecturer with the institution when the reorganization of the Polytechnic took place.
Quite naturally, many staff were disappointed with the loss and transfer of professional courses to the university. However, there were others who understood the reason for this change. They saw the new mission for the Poly as one that presents them with interesting, fresh challenges. Singapore needed a large number of well-trained technologists to support our industrialization program. So we had to train a large number and of the right quality to meet the demands of our industry.
Meanwhile, enrollment at the Polytechnic expanded rapidly. The Ayer Rajah and Dover Road feeder campuses were used to house the additional intake of students. The combined enrollment in 1970 was about 5,000. In 1979, the Polytechnic found its new home on the sprawling complex in Dover Road. Today, situated on an extensive 37-hectare site with a student population of 13,000, the Singapore Polytechnic ranks among the largest technical training institutions in the world. The Polytechnic offers a total of 39 full-time and part-time courses, leading to diploma and certificate awards. These courses are designed to train the engineering technologist to meet the demands of industry and the public sector.
This number of colors you can have.
The Polytechnic's wide-ranging courses in engineering, chemical process technology, business administration and maritime studies emphasizes practical training and industrial application. The availability of modern facilities and industrial equipment gives students the chance for practical hands-on exposure. In the 34 years of its history, the Polytechnic has trained about 45,000 graduates. The Polytechnic's training of skilled technician engineers forms an indispensable part of the country's industrial, engineering and economic life. As Singapore moves into a higher technological phase of development, the Polytechnic continues to adapt and expand its curriculum to train the right caliber of people to meet the high-tech challenge of industries.